Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale Series. So we finished episode 3, which ends on a big cliffhanger, which is pretty much how every episode in every Telltale game works, is that the end of every single episode up to the second to last episode, in this case episode 4, is a big cliffhanger. Then all of that gets nullivated or resolved in episode 5, or the final episode, and then you maybe get a small cliffhanger for a potential season 2. In episode 4, Who Needs You, which I assume that is yet again a title of a somewhat famous song, me not knowing music that well, I would just have to assume. The heroes are stretched to the breaking point as Peter faces his biggest challenge as the leader of the Guardians. Even the resolute Drax is shaken to his core as the group fractures under the weight of their burdens. Well, okay, that's a generic description, but I don't know how we get from the end of episode 3 to that point. Hala, in my decisions, became infused with the power of the Eternity Forge, and so now I assume she can just magically wave her hands to steal the life of people or bring people back. Maybe she has to actually physically kill people, then she can absorb their life force and bring people back. And maybe it'll take her a while to figure that out, how to actually accomplish that, but meanwhile I guess we're going to try and defeat them. What doesn't seem like is likely to happen at the moment is that any of the other characters who wanted to bring back loved ones, like Drax or Rocket, are going to have much opportunities to bring back their loved ones, so maybe they're just going to be mad and leave. I wouldn't put it past it that the attitudes and the reactions are fairly different at the beginning of episode 4 compared to episode 3, because remember, each of these episodes originally would have been released weeks if not months apart, and very often there are completely different writers for each episode of the story, where there's just like a general outline of what's going to happen, and then a different writer writes each episode. Which that was a problem even with the very first Walking Dead game, is that there's clearly episode 4 is written by a different writer and done in a very different way, in a much better way, and usually that's not too big of a problem, but it can be a little bit of a problem when the tone takes a significant shift, or the focus takes a significant shift, because you have no consistent writer controlling the story. Although inherently, I guess that is very much like comic books in general, in that you'll have somebody writing a comic for a few issues, and maybe a year or two, and then all of a sudden somebody else is in charge of writing Batman, and then Batman changes his personality and the focus shifts and the tone shifts. Let's go ahead and start. We'll get a previously on that will perhaps highlight our big decision, which really has just boiled down to, did we try to destroy the Eternity Forge or not? I imagine, regardless of that decision, the same outcome would have happened. I don't think any of the other decisions really matter. I didn't think they even felt like they mattered originally.
The Celestial One must deliver the forge to the sacred shrine. There you can unlock its true power, or destroy it forever.
And that true power is what?
Returning anyone, from any time period, back to the realm of the living.
Guys! Stop! You both want the same thing!
He's actually right.
It happens sometimes.
More than sometimes. Thank you.
So this is the decision to keep Nebula
Give each other
together,
a chance.
which just pushes us further away from the idea of Nebula trying to bring back Thanos. So I guess if Nebula wasn't there, then Nebula wouldn't have been injured.
I'm okay.
And then you have kind of grayish blue for that character, and then a darker blue for Hala. So this was our big choice, was to destroy the Eternity Forge, stop her from bringing back her son, as the first step of bringing back all the Kree and conquering the galaxy. And it looks like that would just have teleported her, but it turns out it didn't. We may have to find all the pieces of the Eternity Forge.
Uh-oh.
You took everything from me. I will destroy you. And all
green.
That you love.
I feel like the next time on aspect at the end of every episode has been changed here, whereas in other Telltale games, next time on is pretty much exactly the same as previously on, because you're expecting there to be a fairly large gap in time between playing each episode.
Martin, he's lost me.
Now this is weird. We killed, it looked like, a lot of Kree, and yet several of the Kree are standing up like they weren't killed.
You have doomed my people to extinction, damned my son to oblivion.
The Forge was too powerful for anyone to handle. We had a responsibility to destroy it.
You destroyed a part of me with it. Now, I will do the same to you.
It's funny that she's even bothering to talk when she hasn't talked. She hasn't really said anything previously.
She's absorbed the Forge. Its power.
What? How is that possible?
So anyone she touches means she can absorb the life essence. Could she just bring that guy back to life? They're kind of cheaping out here by making it so you don't just end up fighting her right now. But I guess, in fairness, having a different kind of action instead of just a generic fight is a little bit more interesting.
Okay, revenge, I get it!
Even if
hey guys, a little help here?
we are going to effectively just escape,
Is the big mean lady picking on you?
we're still just doing a lot of quick time events and weirdly switching between different characters. It'd be interesting to see if we are killing people, would she absorb their life force without touching them, or does she have the limitation that she has to physically touch somebody to absorb the life force? Interesting. It seems to me like Drax, Groot, and Rocket are just being sidelined again. There's too many people in the group, frankly. And part, I think, is
Gamora!
why, when you look at most superheroes, they have a main character and a sidekick at most. Even the Bat family tries fairly hard to not have like all the Robins or Batgirl in the same comic at the same time. Our rocket boots are broken, but then they somehow magically are working enough to save Mantis. And I guess, once again, if we didn't have the stream safe sound effects on, we'd be hearing some interesting licensed music here as we see everybody falling down to what looks like just a infinite void. Perhaps turning the bokeh effect in the visual settings on was a mistake, but yeah, we'll stick with the settings we have. It's not been too big of a problem. So they're all going to fall downward, and unless they discover something new and interesting at the bottom of that pit, we potentially are just going to see them escape.
Should
really
only
bad
be
frame
an hour or
rates.
so before we get there.
And I
You're
don't think
excited to go
anything would really
camping?
fix that. I just don't
Of course.
think the Telltale engine
Can I
was
start the
ever
fire?
capable
Okay,
of
but
depicting
no
the
lighter
games
fluid
they
this
were
time.
making at the end. And frankly, I find these flashbacks annoying.
How are you feeling?
I'll be
maybe,
fine, Peter. I promise.
maybe if you were a real lover of your mother,
Okay.
these kinds of flashbacks might be more
Feeling a lot
nostalgic
better
than
with the new medicine.
for
I
people
got.
who
It'll just be
are
nice to
just
have a weekend
neutral
with you,
about their
away from our
mother.
problems.
But generally speaking, I think most people would find flashbacks that can't possibly matter should not be taking up so much
It's a
of the
lost
game.
cause. We're too far from town. Give it a rest.
Give it a rest and sit here in silence? Ugh, no way.
Again, each of these flashbacks are having the character, the mother, and the young Peter Quill in the same outfit, and then we're getting a very pathetic rotate the right stick to lock in a signal. Which, if you were deaf here, you're not getting audio descriptions.
Mom?
And then here we have a stream safe same song being played over and over again. It definitely, for modern cars, electric cars, and cars with electric systems, makes a great argument to have some kind of button on the passenger side to stop a car. In
Mom!
a slow, safe way.
Ugh. Oh, Peter. Oh my God.
I'm okay. We're okay.
What happened? Oh, how did we... Ah!
We were just driving along and then you passed out.
I'm so sorry, Peter. If you weren't here, it would have been much, much worse.
I suppose
This is my fault.
it feels like there's just way too many pauses
shouldn't have
and
been
not,
acting
they're
like
not talking
nothing's-
fast enough for my taste.
What are you...
Although in all fairness,
It's
I
getting
have
worse,
gotten
baby.
to the point where I want
I was
all
supposed to
YouTube
check into the
videos to
hospital
play
this
at
morning,
twice speed.
but I just wanted
anyways.
to give you one last happy moment to remember me by. Before they plug
But
me
I
into
would
some
say-
damn machine.
Even
I should have
in
told you.
this, there are
I
fairly
thought
long.
I could beat it.
There are long
We
pauses.
have
and
lots of memories together.
there's
and-
not enough substance
no matter
in
what
what's being
happens-
said a lot of times.
I'm always gonna remember how rad you are.
You're a hell of a kid.
It definitely feels like it's pointless to have this flashback at this
we all
point
have
because
to go, sooner or later.
we're likely not going to be able to try and
But
bring
it
her
ain't
back.
over quite yet. So what do you say, One last adventure together? We can still get to the campground before dark. It should be a clear night.
see.
Every star will be out. And it'll just be me and you.
See, and we know in the memory they go forward, but We probably should say we need to turn back.
No.
That's the...
We're going back. We need to get you to the hospital, Mom.
Okay, baby.
Like, that's a big choice.
I know you're just trying to do what's best for me.
We got no real instructions with the Eternity Forge, so if we did bring back Peter Quill's mother, who's to say she wouldn't have the same tumor or cancer or whatever she has in her brain? There's no guarantee that people would come back perfectly healthy.
So we're all in agreement then. We sell the ship and split the dough.
You promised money, not the tasty combination of water and flour.
Quill's just knocked out, you morons. He isn't dead.
But I already called dibs on his stuff. He's got tons of Earth junk in his room. I'm sure that'd fetch you a few units at the trader's market.
I am Groot.
What could you possibly want with his jacket? It ain't gonna fit.
I am Groot.
As
I
a
feel like I just don't
memento,
want to respond here
you are
at all.
such a sap.
So I choose not to speak. He stands up, he's going to say something regardless.
Hello, Peter. We were discussing the sale of your possessions because we thought you were deceased.
I guess it'll have to wait a little longer.
Oh, we're not getting back up there. Great time to have my jet boots busted. We'll have to find another way out.
So I assume Groot can't just grow that tall. Okay, so we're starting with another one of these sequences. Let's talk to Gamora first. Seems like she's hidden in the corner. You may miss that conversation.
Nebula's really hurt. Maybe beyond repair. I couldn't stop it. This is what happens when someone gets too close to me. I've never seen her this bad before. She's tough, but that may not cut it this time.
I know what happened is terrible, but
that
you
may
should
be a hint
proud of her.
as to why
We got through to her.
Gamora and
That
Peter
doesn't
aren't
fix
really having
this.
a romance.
We let Nebula into the Guardians, and look where it got her. We have to live with that.
What's that TV show that's very, very well regarded amongst its niche fandom? Brown coats were the name of some of the characters. Serenity was the name of the movie. Well, I can't remember the name of the show. Well, regardless, the show, TV sci-fi show I'm talking about, even though I can't remember the name of it, feels like it's somewhat in the same style as Guardians of the Galaxy, a group of unlikely friends going on adventures. But the difference there is that Serenity has, the TV show which Serenity is based off of, has a whole TV series behind it that could have given them some stories to work on, and it has kind of a rabid fan base. It's not a huge fan base, but they definitely are very, very excited about the series. It was cut short fairly soon. I kind of feel like Telltale probably could have
Drax,
licensed
you see any way
that
out of
TV
here?
series
I
cheaper
have looked up, I
and
have
told
looked down.
pretty
I
much
have
the
even
exact
turned
same
in
story.
a complete circle. There is no exit.
All right. We'll keep looking.
I will not rest until I find that treacherous exit.
And weirdly, there is almost some precedent for making video games based off canceled TV series. Like, there was a game called Heroes Genesis that came out just a couple years ago based off the Heroes TV series that eventually got canceled because of a writer's strike nearly a decade plus ago.
Hey, Rocket.
Ah, look. It's our troubled leader,
Of course, you
Peter Quill.
wouldn't get
Just when I think things
anywhere
couldn't
as
get
much
worse.
name
Just when I think
recognition
we've hit rock bottom,
compared to having
you
Marvel
managed
in
to
front of
find
your
us
title.
something lower. This time, literally.
Yeah. Well, I am to please.
Not a compliment, but okay.
I suppose, though, that is the promise that was never delivered on as far as Telltale games. You got The Walking Dead, the series of games that did get 3 or 4 spin-offs or sequels. And then you have a promise still to be delivered as far as The Wolf Among Us Season 2. But every other episodic sold Telltale game was just shoveled out there and then abandoned with no thought whatsoever to continue it. So if this game had managed to make me very hyped on the Guardians of the Galaxy and very interested in seeing more of their story, you're not going to get it from Telltale. And honestly, I don't know if you get much more even with the movies. You get 3 movies from Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe, but I wouldn't really put any faith in a fourth.
I just wanted to thank you for catching me.
Anytime.
And I'm sorry for intruding on your memory of your mother. She seemed like a nice woman.
Yeah. She was.
It would be, I guess, somewhat of a funny twist. Now we can see a hole. If I doubt we could have seen that hole before. It would have been, I guess, a little bit of a funny twist if Peter Quill's mother was part of the Guardians of the Galaxy and there was some kind of motherly person always breaking up fights or always baking meals on the ship, doing something very, very domestic, for lack of a better term, compared to the ridiculous action that all the other characters do. Even if it was just like an artificial intelligence mother robot type character.
Don't tell me you're afraid of that little guy.
Yes, what a ridiculous looking creature. On my world, tunnel worms are filthy. They eat only rock and dirt. I've tried this for myself. It was incredibly destructive to my digestive system. I ruined many toilets.
Looks friendly enough,
That's
I
kind of
guess.
funny.
It is. It's okay. It doesn't want to harm us. It's just curious.
Curious about how we taste, probably.
Is it chewing through that stone?
Better that than us. Getting chewed to death is top 5
Let's
on my
feed
all-time
it.
fears list.
Hungry, little fella? Want something to eat? Here you go, you ugly little rock-eating guy.
The Warmer will remember that.
Huh.
So this is like the first character
Bioluminescence.
that's been introduced that
Probably how this thing
could end up
communicates.
getting killed.
Or draws in its unwitting quill-sized prey.
It wants to stay with us.
Maybe we should give it a name. Like a pet.
I am excellent at naming things. I shall call it, Blue.
I'd call it hungry.
No. Its name should be obviously a death trap, because that's what it is.
Kind of wasting time here
That's
instead of
not
finding.
any good.
Well, I think the name is extremely appropriate.
No, not the name. That it's hungry.
The creature is just a tiny nothing. It poses
Let's
no
just give
harm
it
to
Bowie
us.
as a choice,
I am
since we have to
constantly
pick something.
hungry. I've rarely
Although I guess
injured
we could say nothing here and see what happens.
Then it is settled. Blue shall be named Blue. No, your name is Blue.
Great. The Guardians have a mascot.
I am Groot.
I'm the co-pilot. I ain't no mascot.
Wow. Would you look at that? Blue's a helpful little bugger. He's getting us out of here.
It does kind of highlight an issue, certainly,
Wait.
that happens in games,
No one
and
has a
that
problem with this.
everybody
The death trap thing was not just
in
some
most video
cute
games does
expression.
just defer
It's our
to
only
the
way out,
decision of the player character,
Putting an "I told you so" in my
when
pocket for later use.
it would
Peter,
make a lot of sense
What
to
about
have
Nebula?
other characters make decisions, or just let other
buddy.
characters make decisions.
Can you carry her?
I am Groot.
Thanks, Groot.
I am Groot.
I didn't know he could grow that way, though it makes
Hey,
sense.
Blue, wait up!
So we're just following a worm. This is very far away from what you normally would be doing. And this is almost like they're trying to copy the idea that you see in like the Tomb Raider reboots, where you crawl through a crevice to hide a loading section and unload one area and load in the other. But I have suspect we still will fade to black and save and load.
Whoa.
And frankly, that gimmick over the recent years has gotten pretty bad and overused.
This is amazing.
Good news is a lot of
Oh, if
technology
only
doesn't
the
really
inside of my
need that.
containment unit were this
Instead, they
beautiful.
have
Maybe I wouldn't be so psychically
streaming
scarred.
level loading instead, where areas
Look at
around
that.
the level are constantly being loaded in and loaded out. Or textures, visual textures, are constantly being loaded in and out for different areas.
I'd take a moment to soak in all of this beauty if we weren't about to die.
I wonder if
That's
there's
just the way
something
things
about
go
this
around
planet
here.
that specifically was designed or used to charge up the Eternity Forge. I guess the answer to that is probably yes. Weirdly, we are not seeing any of that mold from the first temple,
It's like a blacklight painting down
which
here.
it feels like the mold is just going to be a red herring at this point.
What is that?
Maybe these strange crystals in part will let you build a new Eternity Forge. It's kind of weird. The camera is slowly zooming in and I can't move anywhere with the left stick, so I have to pick it up now. Which I imagine the game is going to make me pick it up.
Whoa, what are
Anyways.
you doing, Pete? That crystal there is natural thorium. Just looking at one the wrong way can cause it to explode. Worth a ton of units. Highly volatile. Huh. I'm actually a little surprised no one's mined this planet dry.
Maybe there's a reason no one tried. Not good.
So those look like the same species, but
Guess what's
not
happening,
as friendly.
dummy? Rocket called. That thing led us into a death trap.
They do not want to kill us. Just eat us. As I said, they're hungry.
Like that makes me feel any better. Everyone run or we're dead.
So now we're getting an action sequence that really has nothing to do with the actual main story.
Come on! Come on! Yeah!
And we're spinning around, controlling each character with QuickTime events. And just not really able to fight.
He's right! They just keep coming!
Are they cannibalistic? Would they eat each other? I don't really get an idea as to why they'd even be hungry if they're eating rocks. Seems like there would be plenty of rocks,
Everyone look out!
but maybe the rocks aren't nutrient full. Maybe they're just desperate to eat rocks because they can't find anything else.
Nothing like the smell of fried worms to really lift your spirits.
Yes.
So
Just
far, this
like
feels like
Mother's
this whole
cooking.
episode could have been taking place
Here we
at
go.
any other point
Which
in the
way?
story.
One of these has got to lead us back to Hala.
Whoa, 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 hold up. You actually want to keep going after Hala? Maybe you were watching a different show, but in the one I saw, the forge blew up in her face, and she wound up with godlike powers.
So, you're okay with being responsible for Hala laying waste to the entire galaxy?
Wasn't my idea to try and destroy it. I said it would be bad news. Basically told you exactly what would happen. Boom! Forge in the face, Mega Hala. Magala.
You are terrible at naming things. We should now call her... Also Blue.
What we really should call her is a big friggin' problem for us. 'Cause that's what she is.
We did the right thing.
I would buy into
Clearly,
Rocket's
no one should
argument
be able to
if
have
it
that kind of
was
power.
an
Yeah,
argument to
great
go
job.
get a stronger
now
weapon.
That power's in her face. The power we could have used to help our loved ones.
Which is exactly why we have to go after her.
You don't get to talk, Gamora. It's 'cause of you. We gotta carry out all this dead weight.
She isn't dead.
Yet. The word you're looking for is yet. She's as good as, if you ask me.
Rocket coming
one
off far
did.
too much.
I know I
That's
failed
a
her.
jerk.
I don't need you to twist the knife.
Hey, everyone needs someone like me. The guy who says what everyone's thinking, but is too much of a whip to do anything about it.
No one else is thinking that, Rocket. Only you. Oh, when they rewired your brain, they must have screwed up. Because half the time, you're talking out of your ass.
He's just trying to rile you up, Gamora. Ignore him.
I know exactly how to do that. I'm going this way, and he better not follow me.
Oh, I won't. Trust me.
This seems like a really
Hey,
ridiculous
all
way
this,
for them
it's
to
your fault, Quill. If you
split
hadn't
up.
exploded the forge, I'd have one less thing to be pissed at you for.
So you have to choose, obviously.
Let's go, Groot.
I am Groot.
What? Oh, fine, you big baby. I didn't need any of you when I started in this business, and I don't need you now. Better off on my own.
Go after Rocket, side with Gamora. I guess you picked the girlfriend again. Like, we've tried to be friendly to Rocket, but Rocket is always a prickly personality. And I don't think it really is gonna matter. I don't think we're gonna see completely different content here.
Gamora, wait up.
Go with Gamora. I will protect the rodent. Do not worry.
Sometimes I do not need to tell you how the others are feeling. Makes my job easy.
It would kind of make a funnier story if Mantis was closer to a therapist. Like some Nova Corps assigned therapist to keep all these people mentally in check.
Gamora? How are you holding up?
God damn that filthy little rat!
I wouldn't be surprised if we actually find more splits in the path and more people breaking up.
Rocket can be a cruel, manipulative jerk pretty much every day.
Just not say anything
But
here.
this time, he was right.
Learning to listen, or learning when not to speak, is something that Telltale Games I don't think really tries to teach you, but
I pushed her
can
away,
be the right choice,
and instead
in my
she
opinion,
wanted
a
to
lot of
kill me.
times, particularly in the real world.
She nearly did.
Let's go with Nebula's changed.
You never gave up on Nebula. What she did for you? She's proven she's not the same frenzied assassin she used to be.
Unless, of
Maybe
course,
she
she's
has
listening
changed.
to
I don't
instructions
feel
from
like I
Thanos.
I tried
From the
to help
beginning.
others. It always backfires. Nebula, the Nova Corps, even Rocket, they hate me. One day, assuming we survive this, you'll hate me too. I don't want to hurt you.
I am Groot.
Let's go with that's their loss. Or
Gamora,
never.
I'd
I'll go
never
with
hate
never.
you. mean, how can you even say that?
It's a thought I can't seem to escape, Peter.
Look, Gamora.
This is really the level of dialogue and conversation that should have been throughout the entire game.
Toxic spores.
And it's more of what you would expect in the Walking Dead games. I guess that does indicate that the mask isn't going invisible. It is through some nanotechnology showing up.
Apparently. He seems to like it.
I am Groot.
Looking good, Groot. Very fashionable.
I am Groot.
Is Nebula being affected by the spores?
Gamora?
Nebula, I'm here. We're going to get you back to the ship and repair you, okay?
She's fading. We need to hurry.
I'd say, though, it's not particularly
too far to
necessary
jump.
to jump from
We're gonna have to find another way across.
deep, thoughtful conversation into, oops, we fell in some toxic spores, and we then have Groot changing his appearance. That is perhaps an example of where your decision may change the appearance of a character, but isn't going to really matter in any other way. Had I gone with Rocket, he may not have ended up with flowers on his arm, but we can't really kill the characters off, so basically all the characters are bulletproof.
Just gotta find a way to tip it over.
Okay. What else can we look at?
Hey, check it out. Let's see where you go. Perfect.
So he assumes that those two cave openings connect. I'm just bending over backwards to get as much content out of this game as possible, whereas a lot of players may only look at half the stuff before they figure out the solution and just move forward. I think you could probably speedrun these games fairly quickly, although so much of it is conversation and cutscenes. Without a skip button, you couldn't get it down too much. I think you could play this game in about half the average play time.
Suffers as we have.
But as far as all these cutscenes,
Rest, Nebula. Rest.
it would potentially come down to which dialogue choices makes the other characters talk less. It's important to point out that there is a decent percentage of people who play video games that pay no attention to the story or narrative at all, and they will just skip through cutscenes, and they just don't even care if they don't understand what they're supposed to do. Particularly when you start to get to like military first-person shooters, where the objectives are told to you in very uncertain, well, certain terms, it would be the right phrase, and so you can just skip the entire cutscene and it says capture the flag, get to a specific point on the map, kill a specific number of people, and that's all you really need to know if you're trying to play that. Particularly if you're playing like multiplayer games, multiplayer elements in games, they don't tend to give you any story there. So if you're heavy into playing player versus player or other kinds of multiplayer, you're highly unlikely to be a big fan of narrative and cutscenes. Let's see. Let's ask, are you okay, I guess?
What's up, Groot? Why are you acting all weird?
Groot am I.
He's
You,
high.
my friend, are not in a right state of mind.
I am Groot.
It'd be interesting if a plant could eat any other plant and then replicate it. That's effectively plant cloning, which could be very useful. If you had like a plant that had some kind of chemical that cured cancer, for instance, but there is only a small sample of it, give it to Groot, he eats it, he makes more samples. Let's ask, have you seen... No, let's go with I am Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
We're all gonna die here. Hey, Groot? Have you seen anything around we could...
I am.
Cool. Very helpful. Can you give me a lift into that tunnel?
I am Groot.
Help me up into tunnel. You understand?
Is he actually going to help you?
Yeah, forget it.
Weird, the music just kind of abruptly cut there.
Peace, dude.
Okay, we'll talk to Gamora next, I guess. It'd be funny to have more serious conversation after all of that.
Do you want to talk about Nebula?
Weirdly, it feels like the A choice is the right choice most of the time here. It doesn't feel balanced.
My sister and I, we never knew how to be anything but weapons. Flawed ones at that. She and I, we never had a chance.
You're so much more than just a blade. I'm serious.
Thank you, Peter. But I know my value. Just took me a while to realize that's all I was.
Let's go with B, I guess, this time.
Any ideas on how to get across?
I'm looking. There's got to be something here we can use. We better hurry, though. Nebula won't last long.
Now, I don't think we're really on a timer. I don't think it would be particularly fun if there was a timer.
Can you help me up into that tunnel?
Yeah, let's go.
Ready when... Cool. Glad I could help. Hey, Groot. We'll be right back. Thanks.
So we effectively have split off again. Now it is just me and Gamora. But I doubt there was an option there where I could have ended up with Groot.
Listen.
Or Nebula.
I just need you to realize something. Nebula is just the beginning. Someone else is going to get hurt. Or worse. I've been ambushed before. But this time, I see the danger coming right for us.
I won't let that happen.
I know you mean that, Peter. I do. But I can't have another death on my conscience. I can't be responsible for my own family, let alone the whole galaxy. Once we get off this planet, I'm going to leave the Guardians.
Gamora.
If I'm alone, the only one who can get hurt is me. We did great things together, but the team's fractured. It's
So they're
not
gonna
like it
split
used
up
to be.
no matter what.
What about Nebula? Your sister is injured. She needs you.
And it's my fault she ended up that way.
You can't leave her again, Gamora. You'll never be able to forgive yourself.
It doesn't matter what I say, though. They're going to split up for at least a brief second. Although, for all I know, this is all just a dream sequence.
Here we are. One.
I thought they would
two,
use the blaster, but...
You're out of sync. Try it again.
1, 2, 3.
weirdly,
1.
it's not 1, 2, 3, go like Drax demanded it to be.
Last time. 1, 2, 3.
But you could have had a call back there where
that should do it.
He goes 1, 2, 3, go.
Let's get out of here.
Groot? How did you even get over there?
I am Groot.
Peter, wait. What you said about Nebula, you're right. You're our leader. I'm trusting you to protect all of us.
We're getting very awkward jumps between Groot being high and finding his way across the gap and then it not being explained versus the serious conversations with Gamora and
I can't see a thing
Peter.
in here.
I am Groot.
And I guess I'll push it here and do one more section. I don't know why you would ever take off the helmet.
Great.
Peter? We're in their lair.
Don't make a sound. We gotta sneak.
If they get too bright, they'll wake up, but I guess the general idea is you're just going to push very slowly, far slower than I'd like with the left stick. And if I stop moving, they will eventually calm down. But how bright is too bright? He takes a step forward after I release the left stick anyways. I feel like you're pretty much doomed to fail this no matter what you do, that potentially it's just going to infinitely spawn more cave and more worms. And yeah, had we gone the other direction, it would have just been Rocket talking about how he was going to leave the team, which arguably I don't know how I really would have convinced Rocket to stop from leaving the team. He's been talking about since the second episode, if not the first episode. Yeah, it definitely feels like there's one drastic version of this storyline where you could have always sided with Rocket and tried to be as friendly as possible, and he still would be a jerk for the most part. And then there's another path where you would have always sided against Rocket and he still would have been a jerk. It really just means none of it's that important. We can see they got caught.
Rocket!
Possibly a Kree character was also caught. Let's see. You can't do anything else, so let's talk to Rocket first.
Hey, Rocket. Wake up.
I asked for a to-go container.
Okay, okay. We're gonna get you out of here.
Tap the A button slowly so he doesn't light up, which is inherently the opposite of what you would do normally in QuickTime events, which would be to mash the A button as fast as possible.
Crap.
Hey, you alright, Rocket?
I feel like I just boozed for a week, then took a header into Drax's fist.
What happened? How'd you end up in the...
What, in a giant alien lunch sack? Never would have happened if you'd come with me.
So obviously we would have just freed the other group of people.
Everyone stay quiet.
And they only made us do it once, where other video games may have forced us to free everybody. Well, maybe they are going to make me do it multiple times.
Time to get up before the worms do.
I don't see a worm around, so I'm just going to move kind of slowly anyways out of safety. Well, I feel like Drax is going to start screaming and wake them up anyways.
This is weirder than normal.
That's saying something.
Yeah. Missed you too, man. Okay, Drax. That's enough awkward hugging for today. Seriously, Drax, get off me.
I will help you.
No, not you, Mantis. No.
Well, this is an awkward spot to potentially force in the flashback between Drax and his family. Drax in a lot of ways just comes off as a God of War ripoff character. Although, how many different ways can you have big muscly men with major tattoos? So we've got some tracks. Let's see, let's examine with the A button.
Something small.
Touch with the A button right now. Weird they moved the prompt around. It was the X button to touch it before.
Still fresh. Must be close.
I suppose there is something to be said about how a green-skinned alien without a shirt is
Show yourself, and
not
I will be
anywhere
merciful.
is questioned as
How I kill
a
you.
shirtless human would be in a movie or a TV show. Although in all fairness, wrestlers get away with being shirtless the whole time. Let's go ahead and peek over. That doesn't feel like that's something Drax would really do. Yeah. We've really gotten to a point though where
Surrender now, villain!
so there's the daughter.
I got you, Papa. You should have seen your face. Outwitted by your own daughter.
Yes, Gamora. You surprised me.
I knew I could do it.
You are getting stealthier. You have now completed the test of guile and diversion. These skills will serve you well on the warrior's path, where every child...
Let's leave their home and make the perilous journey to the training grounds.
Take it seriously, Gamora. I say it out of
Again,
love, daughter. This
Depending on the
path
shadow and
is
shading here,
not to be taken
she
lightly.
sometimes come off as blue, more looks blue here instead of
If I
green
was
compared
scared,
to his
That would
skin.
be alright, wouldn't it?
And then the next scene is
Not that I
way
am.
greener.
It's just that... I mean, I suppose many who seek the warrior's path might have such feelings.
It is normal to feel scared.
It is?
Yes. So use it to make yourself more focused and less reckless in battle.
Yeah, the Telltale games never really encouraged you
feel
or
a little
punished you for
scared,
playing
but
out
I
of
will be
character.
stronger for it.
Because I would inherently admit that the
We don't have
writers
long.
of the dialogue choices are writing the character incorrectly.
Before you leave, I promised you.
The tattoo! I am ready, Papa.
I know you are.
So they're
Your
going to
first
skip over.
tattoo marks you as a warrior in training. You will add many as your journey continues.
Wow, they're actually going to show him tattoo her. I was kind of thinking they
Relax,
wouldn't do
daughter. It will not take long.
that. And they're going to actually make you do it through QuickTime events. Weird. I'm not a huge fan of tattoos because they tend to fade pretty terribly, fairly short amount of
Kylos,
time.
Your
and
mother and I had our soul
they are
union there.
somewhat permanent.
I don't ever want a soul union. Never. Ever. I
That
will
being said,
become
if they
a
came
great
out
warrior
with a
on my
tattoo
own.
technology where you could
I'm not
change the
like other
tattoo or
scouts.
remove it or it never
Talking as if
faded.
they're already warriors. They are far too childish for me.
You do not have to participate in a soul union if you do not wish to. It is your decision to make, and yours alone.
Good.
I would say tribalistic tattoos that are going for patterns are
Do you need
do
to
have a
rest?
tendency to
No.
not look as
Finish it.
terrible as
Papa,
thin
there's
lines
so
with
little
lots
time,
of detail.
And sometimes I feel like there's still so much to ask you.
What is it you wish to know?
What if I face an opponent who cannot be beaten?
This
am
definitely feels
strong,
like
but
a sequence.
I'm small.
Uh,
I fear that my skills will not be enough when the time comes.
Then you run, and live to fight another day. Great warriors always use their minds, like I do.
wow, this makes it
Yes.
seem like Drax
I will be cautious.
got brain damage at some point.
And what if-
He's just
What
way
will you
more
do
wise
if
here.
I return more powerful than even you. My legend spreading across the valleys. My foes quivering in fear.
And I will be more proud than my simple words can express. It is done.
The other problem, certainly with
It is
tattoos,
us.
is that there tends never to be anything that is that good of an idea for a
There is
tattoo.
one last test you
Even
must
if you
pass
think
before
it's a
you
good
can leave.
idea, 20, 30 years down the
Conquering
line,
the
you're
unknown.
not going to particularly care
It's too far.
as much about the
I can't
idea
see
of
what's down
having
there.
that tattoo
must
as
jump.
you did when you
Unless
first
you
got
wish
it.
to wait another year.
A lot of people get tattoos
ready.
when they're drunk or high
Like
on
you said,
drugs.
It's normal to feel
Or
scared.
just bored. A lot of people get tattoos because they enjoy the sensation of the tingling pain. And that can become addictive, certainly.
I can't do it. You have to help me, Papa. Wait! Just
Let's see.
a second to gather my courage.
I'm not going to push her or pull her. I'm just going to wait for it to
This.
do that. I bumped
I
my
am
mouse
ready.
there, so it went to the mouse prompts instead
wait.
of the controller prompts.
Papa? I'm scared.
It needs to be her
Fear
decision.
Is normal.
So I think clearly the decision there was to not pull her back or push her. And that may have been a bit of a tricky prompt. And you'd assume that she would be wet. there and that she had jumped into a river. But it looks like she actually just broke her arm.
I did it.
I'm proud
Maybe
of
she
you,
landed
Knowhere.
into something
You will
soft
do
but not
well
wet,
at the training
not
grounds.
water.
I'm gonna miss you, Papa.
There's no reason to. Look at your tattoo and know I am always with you.
It would make so much more sense to see this sequence before
Papa,
we were given the
I
choice
must
to
go
destroy
now.
the Eternity Forge.
You have to let me go sometime.
Hmm.
It's a long walk on the warrior's path. I don't want to keep the others waiting. You can't hold on to me forever.
Interesting, so you can just sit here for one more minute and it will just give you one more minute, although in total silence.
I get it. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Okay. I will miss you too, and Mama.
It's funny you're getting visual, like, electronic glitches
We
here.
can't wait around all day like this. It'll be dark soon. I'll fight my way out of it if I have to. Papa!
I don't know why you're getting electronic glitches here. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense for electronic glitches to be happening there.
I never should have let her go. Maybe
We got an
then she would
achievement
still be alive.
for finishing that flashback.
Drax,
Hey, that's real sad and all, but we can use some muscle over here.
So, I think we probably want to pause here, since we've gone an hour.
Oh, never mind, we're good.
There's a giant one.
this is where we run.
It's funny, none of the other Telltale games really heavily relied on flashbacks. And now they are overplaying the idea of flashbacks. There was one sequence, I think, that was somewhat memorable in one of the Walking Dead games where there was a flashback, but it came very normal and definitely wasn't overused as a concept. By this game having so many between so many different characters, it's just stretching the current narrative, the current timeline narrative, extremely thin. Whereas if this was a actual Marvel movie, it would be much more of an adventure where they would have spent way more time investigating and collecting the Eternity Forge, and then they would have spent a lot more time getting to the first temple, a lot more time getting to the second temple. It would be a linear adventure. And you probably wouldn't have flashbacks as much, you would just have characters talking about their past. And that would be better characterization in general. Alright, well, I guess that is that. Nothing particularly impressive. It is kind of nice to see Drax with his daughter. It's questionable whether we'll see Drax with his wife. Doesn't seem like it really is going to matter, though, because we're obviously not bringing them back unless they want to go into a narrative where all of the Guardians of the Galaxy get exactly what they want and just have a happy ending and disband and never have any other adventures. Which that would be a weird way to end the Telltale series. That would definitely be canon breaking. Yeah. With that, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me further, there's some links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.